I'm going to do here, guys, I'm going to go and add an account. And you see here we just have a nice simple form, first name, last name, just the details of that customer. And here's a username here, see question and answer. You'll be able to see these questions and answers if you need to help them with in recovering their password. And then we have UltraSafe. UltraSafe is one of those things where it removes any possibility or any option of recovering a password if it's forgotten. And this is something we enabled years ago to be HIPAA compliant. So companies might have some other requirements today for security or different compliances, where basically the objective is that the third-party vendor storing your data has no way of accessing any of your data whatsoever. So do you have any specific requirements or compliances you have questions about? Just go and ask your sales rep, and they'll be able to answer those for you. So we have here then creating an account. You would choose your backup plan. Now I know it only has 2 plans down here, but this is what we use for our demo. So you being a partner, you would tell your partner specialist, or you would tell the partner delivery team what backup plans you want to show up. You might want 1 gig through 100 gigs. You might want to set up between 25 gigabit increments. So whatever you like, we can put there. All right. So I'm going to go back to the partner dashboard. So moving along, we'll come back to some of these things later on, but I want to show you, creating an account, getting a license key, and then actually installing and running through the software. That's what we want to do first. So, and then let's assume that we created this account here, SOS test_DW, and we signed the list license key here in this license file for exchange and recovery. The next thing we do is we would then just download this SOS. This is our server-side executable, and this is, you could run from any place. And once you do so, you would just log in with a user account that you just created. I'm going to do that here. As you can see, it's already been typed in. Okay, so the whole purpose of that server-side executable is so you can, like I said before, download, install, and license the applications that you've assigned to that customer. So these applications are already installed. As you can see, it says installed. But what you do is you'd be able to click on these buttons here for each. You go to another window where it would say download, install, and then when you're prompted, you would be able to have the license file for EGR and place it where you want to. We suggest you place it inside the installation folder of that. And then here's the license key for image creator. And so when you run those programs, they'll either ask you to put in the license key, or you might hit, remind me later. So this product here does have a 30-day trial. So if your customer did want to try it out, it's built in. You don't have to request it. But after 30 days, it'll ask them for a license key if they want to do any backup functions. The last one here is the Workstation backup. This is one of our other versions of our software that we've been using for years, and you're still welcome to use it. What it is, it's an older version that doesn't have some new technology we have. But some of our partners still have it installed in many locations, and so we're not telling them, hey, it's bad or it's ill, but they still might want to keep that running if they like the way it works, they're comfortable with it. But we would recommend that you'd install the Online Backup Recovery Manager in all your systems. It's brand new code. We rewrote the entire uploader part of that, so it's, like Ken said before, it is 40% faster as far as backups. And I have several customers that compare our new backup engine with a lot of our competitors, and they tell us, yeah, it is a lot faster. It took Mozy, weeks to get this data uploaded. It only took you guys 2 days. So a couple more tabs worth mentioning here is the Setup Backup tab. This might help a user, direct them on which option they should choose to do a backup of their file server. And this is saying, hey, you probably want to do an image and file and folder. And when clicking so on these, it just launches those programs. There we go. So I clicked on the Backup Recovery Manager, and that launched. So I'm going to go back to that in a minute. And what I want to show you first is Image Creator, which you will see that it's powered by Shadow Protect, which we believe is the best in the market. There is for everything. It's recommended by lots of partners. They love it. They use it. So we went with that route as licensing software rather than building our own or buying up a company. because we actually tried doing that, and we realized it is a lot more difficult than you think it is. And so we didn't want to take any chances with that, having a new product, and we wanted something that was reliable already in the market. And so it is, and we've had great success so far. So this software, one thing worth mentioning here is wherever it's installed, you can have central control. So built into it is they have network view over here, and that's where you guys can control any of the installation of the product on the same network. Some of our partners have been able to figure out how to create a VPN connection to their office, and they have the software installed on their PC, and they can manage other systems just by doing that. So you can create a backup job, stop backup job, edit it, look at backup history, all those things. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to mention here, or I'm going to show you, is the backup. And typically you'd be backing up your system drives and your data drives, things like that, whatever you choose. I'm not going to back up the C drive for this demo because it'll take about 10 minutes. So just for speed, I'm going to back up just the E drive. And the next screen coming up is your destination. So we recommend that you back up to a Windows storage destination on your network. The reason why we recommend that is because if you're going to be wanting to upload your images to the cloud with us, it'll be much faster if our on-the-backup recovery software is installed on the Windows system and to upload them to the cloud. Additionally, there's other functionality that you'd be able to use if you installed Shadow Protect on that storage system. You'd be able to do recoveries faster from there. Additionally, there is a later version of the software you'd be able to use. Some of you may already know what it is. We always get this question about virtual boot. Can I virtually boot my images? Well, we didn't license that version of the software because we feel we didn't need that capability. And also, that feature that I'm talking about is you're able to use it for free using a later version of it. So if you're not going to be backing anything up and just using it for restore management, you can use that feature at no additional cost. So if you have more questions about that, just you can call your sales rep and ask them. They'll discuss it with you. But anyway, moving on, your destination here is a UNC path, and when you select this here, it does launch this box here that once you type in the UNC path, type in the credentials, and so it has access to that path even when you're logged off. There's no issue with like a map drive and disconnecting and different credentials. It's saved right here, making it more convenient for you. And then you can also back up to a local drive if you like. We'll do that. Next screen here is the backup schedule. Now, we follow the recommendation of Shadow Protect and our partners. They recommend that continuous incrementals are the best, and we do agree with that because it uses the least local storage space for you and the least online storage space. So with this selection, you don't have to worry about creating lots of full backups. It'll create one full backup automatically the first time and incrementals going forward. Now you don't have to worry about if your online storage space is running out of space or you have to go and delete old files or purge things. So this less maintenance for you, basically. You'll see here on the top and the bottom they have different scheduling types. The top one is basically just once a day, and the bottom is where you can run it once every hour, every half an hour, every 2 hours. You can decide that however you like. And just remember, this is a chain of backups. So the full backup will be created, and then incremental backups each day or every hour. They'll be very small, every smaller. And that chain of backups is very reliable now. There's self-healing built in to the product where if you have some worry if your chain of backups is corrupted somehow or the full backup is corrupted, whenever there's any corruption with the backup, it does detect that automatically, and it'll purge that file, and it won't allow it to be saved to the storage device. And what it does is it tells the software, next time you run a scheduled backup, run a differential, which is much more powerful, grabs more data. But then it goes through a conversion process to convert the differential to an incremental. They're fixing the chain, and of course, saving you space. So this is definitely our favorite, and many others as well. Okay, next screen here is the options screen. We have the compression. Now, if I choose none compression, what that's saying is, obviously no compression, but what it gives you is the same size as the used space on your disk. An example would be if I have a 200 gigabyte disk, I'm using 100 gigabytes of that. Your full image backup will be 100 gigs. But if you use the compression here, you'll get 50% on standard and about 60 to 80 on high. So your first full backup image of 100 gigabyte use space on a disk might be 30 gigs, if you're lucky. Additionally, if you want extra security on your images, you can use the password option. We are going to encrypt anything we send over the wire, but if you feel you need it, you can check that box there. You can click Advanced Encryption, and you then can choose your own encryption algorithm right there. Other tabs here are like the Commands tab. If you, let's say you have some databases that don't have like a VSS writer assigned to them, or it doesn't have its own backup application, within here you could use your scripts to stop your database. The image will be backed up. The image will be created, and then here is where you can actually tell it to start your database back up again. On the Image tab, one of the things worth mentioning here is enable self-healing incremental recovery. That's what I was talking about before. If there is some corruption in the image, it'll purge it and then fix it automatically. On the Backup tab, there is performance throttling. I get asked that a lot. Can I throttle that so it doesn't bring my server to its knees while it's backing up? Definitely you can. And then also notice there is a generate MD5. This is a checksum extra verification. It's up to you if you want to use that. And then one more thing I want to mention is the split image file. One use for this you could use is split up the image if you're worried about your first full backup not completing successfully. People have worries of what if I lose my internet connection, or what if my computer shuts down and I have to start this full backup all over again. Well, our software can handle the big files pretty well. But if you had that concern, you could split up the full backup into maybe like 9 gig chunks. And let's say that your full backup image is like 10 files. It would basically back up the first 5, and then maybe your computer crashes. If it did, it'd be unfortunate. But it would just pick up where I left off. But our software doesn't have any problem backing up, 100 gigabyte files, 500 gigabyte files, no problem. Okay, so I'm just going to proceed here, and we'll just run a backup.
And to answer some questions here on the line, Jonathan says, if Shadow Protect's already installed, can we use that install? Yes, Jonathan, you can. Jeffrey says, is this a Windows environment only? I work in a Mac-only office. Does this mean I can't use this product? Jeffrey, for the bare metal backup, it's Windows only, but we've got a Mac online backup product for the cloud backup piece, which John's about to demo in a second. Jonathan Miller asks, where can we specify workstation versus server license? John, you do that in the partner dashboard, right back at the beginning of the demo. Right here where it says manage licenses at the bottom of the screen on the left.
And being that you brought up, workstation licenses, I just want to make sure that you understand that for the online backup and recovery, for full file backup, there's no license key for that. You have a backup account, so which means you can install the software on a Windows machine, and you can backup or recover.
It's workstation by default,
yeah,
if you like, unless you make it a server save.
Yeah, I would say that too. So this is running. I clicked the details button here to show you that it does have like a nice log of whatever's happening. There's a log. This log here is showing you positive information and negative, and there's an error code for each. That's important because it will then translate to probably like a knowledge base article. And one of the reasons why we decided to license this software, because it is so reliable. The guys over at the Build Shadow Protect, they know every known issue that could happen. They have a fix for everything. And usually it's not a fix or a bug. Usually it's some Windows setup issue that you just need to tweak to get it to work. One thing I will mention is that this software, like Ken mentioned earlier, uses VSS heavily. And in order to be able to take a backup of an image of your disk, or like SQL and Exchange, you can only have one of these backup programs installed at a time. So, they want to use Acronis or Backup Protect or other ones. You can't do that because Microsoft VSS only lets you assign one VSS-enabled program to one program. So that's very important that you do that. So if you are going to be trialing this or demoing this on your own, make sure that you keep that in mind when you're doing so. You have to uninstall, restart, install this product, and then restart again, and you're good to go. Okay, so this finished. I have no errors. That's good. I'm going to go over the Wizards tab again here, and the Restore button lets us restore any other disk other than the C drive. And what an example here would be, let's say your Exchange folder is corrupted, and you'd go in here. Sorry about that. You'd select your image, select one of your incrementals based on date and time, and then you'd say the E drive, I want to restore that. It'll overwrite everything you have. If you need to restore the C drive, basically Windows system files, you would use the boot recovery disk. You'd pop that in to the same hardware, different hardware, and you'd be able to recover it, obviously. And then also virtual environments. It is an ISO file. You can mount that in a virtual environment and also do the same thing. There are some recovery. There are some file conversion tools out there to convert these images to virtual machine format. However, even the guys that built Shadow Protect say that the fastest way to convert an image to a virtual machine is to use the boot recovery environment ISO disk and just restore it, because the restores are pretty fast, even using the network to do it. I would suggest gigabit network connection for that rather than the USB hard drive. Be faster. We have the Explore button here, which I'll actually show you that capability without even having the software open. We can go to the F drive where images are located, and we can just simply right-click on any of these images here and go Quick Mount. And then you'll see we'll get a new drive letter, which is H. We had a previous one from previous demo called on G. And this is also where we do Quick Dismount. When that image is mounted, I can then pull out a folder or file that I might need to recover from just by doing that. Or if you're going to do an Exchange recovery, we'll launch our Exchange recovery here. We have called EGR, Exchange Granular Recovery. And I'm going to open up the database file on that H drive. And then you'll see we'll be able to export any information out of there into PST or message format. This will automatically also find the logs folder. And before I show you the exporting, I'm going to show you how I can connect to a live Exchange server on site and do a drag and drop message or folder or mailbox or even database recovery. Okay, so I'll simulate that user 1 lost a precious message from user 2, and user 1 needs to get it back. So what I would do is I would just click on the user's inbox, the mailbox, and use the search tool. And based on the criteria that the user gives me, they told me that the subject line is Nortel, and the message came from user 2. So now I find and I find just that message. Very convenient. And then I just simply drag this over to the inbox, and it'll put it back where it was before. Now, if the message was already there, this does have duplicate protection. It won't copy if it's a duplicate. So that drag and drop method can be used under anything else. I can drag this entire mailbox down to the server name, recover that, rebuild all the folders. I mean, you can also restore a calendar. Anything can be drag and drop down there. And then this software can also be used for Exchange migration. You can just take the entire EDB file and drag it down to the server name, and it'll start rebuilding data. Okay. Okay, no questions on that. I'm going to proceed. And then, of course, we have our on the back of recovery software. We now call it on the back of recovery manager, and it's already running. And it still has the same setup interface, making it fast up a backup. So I set up a long backup, and let's say I want to back up some images. I go to my app drive and I select some of these for backup. I can also select some documents or some other folders on the C drive. So this will be able to back up your images as well as other documents and files and so on. So it's basically just 2 steps. And the last one here is you might want to back up when no one's logged in. You'd enter your password for that. Hourly, daily, weekly, monthly. Type in an email address for your reports, and then finish.